Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's your boy Mike, and we're talking about the Toronto Raptors. Now, it's finally, the season's upon us. It's finally the Raptors season. We're finally discussing, our expectations, our thoughts of this team, our hopes and dreams of this beautiful Toronto Raptors 2022-23 team. Now, in saying all that, the Raptors squad is official now. No more guessing who's gonna be on the team. We can all. I love the fact that Justin Champagne made the team. He was the guy I think I really wanted to make the team, and I always thought to myself, why did they not play him in the first couple preseasons? I'm like, well, they must trust him then, right? Because how do you not play a guy who's fighting for minutes, fighting for time? We all saw what DJ Wilson was doing. I think some of us liked it. We appreciated, Josh Jackson, things like that. But then we all came to terms of what this roster actually is gonna look like. I'm happy to see it. I think Dalton Banton was the one guy that was for sure gonna make it. I think we all saw that since Wancho's contract was guaranteed, he had to make it as well. So that's good. The squad is. I'm looking forward to the squad. I don't know, what we're truly gonna expect. And I'm just looking at the roster now. It's still so young. The roster is still so young. It's crazy. Like the amount of years. Like this is Fred's. Going to his sixth season, I believe. Pascal six. Like it's it's nice. No, sorry. This is Fred's seventh year. It's going to Fred's seventh year. Like it's nice. Good times. Good times. Good times. Now, in saying this, let's start. In the conversation that we're gonna have today about our Toronto Raptors, we're gonna first discuss, you know, the fact that as much as we love this team, Raptor fans, we all generally enjoy this team. We're appreciative of this team. We're thankful that we have a team in Toronto. This Toronto Raptors team is a little bit confusing. We don't know what we're gonna get from this Toronto Raptor team. We're unsure what we should expect. Besides the Brooklyn Nets, we are probably one of the most confusing teams. I'm seeing, podcasters say don't sleep on the Raptors, and then I'm seeing lists have the Raptors at like seventh or eighth. I see some of our Raptors people talk about the Raptors in the sense of, oh, they're going to be a 55 win team. They will not be. If the Raptors win 55 games, I'm going to generally be shocked. And 55 wins in the Eastern Conference is number one, okay? Because this Eastern Conference is so good. I just made my list of the Eastern Conference teams. I did put the Raptors at the fifth seed, but don't be surprised if they're sixth. The East is so good. Don't be surprised if they're in the play on. They're in the playing. Like, and I mean they're in the playing, but they have a really good record. Like it's just the East is that good. The East is that talented. So we can't expect the Raptors to be some off the bat juggernaut team. That just may not happen. It may not happen. But ultimately, what I wanted to dive into first was the Raptors being a confusing team. And the reason why they're confusing is, like I said, the East is phenomenal. This is the best the East has been in a while. The Washington Wizards honestly are bringing out a team of Beal, Porzingis, Monte Morris, Kuzma, Rui Hachimura. Corey Kispert, I believe, is injured now. But the Washington Wizards within itself is still a good team. They have their scorer. They have a second guy in Porzingis. They have a third guy in Kuzma. They have Danny Abdia, who is a good defender, who can also get the basket. We're hoping his ball handling can get better. Like, it's a good squad, you know? Orlando's actually not bad at all. Detroit, who is probably not going to make the playoffs, has a squad on them. Has a squad that I honestly think is going to be a top four, fifth seed next year. I think Detroit's good. I think the Eastern Conference overall is good and talented, right? And one reason why the Raptors are a little confusing is if the Raptors are not hitting the 3 point at a consistent pace, If they're not hitting the threes well, then I don't believe they're going to be a good team. And I mean, the Raptors squad as a whole needs to be consistent in the 3 points. Because when it's ugly, when we're watching preseason, when it was ugly, it was ugly. The preseason showed us that the Raptors still really need some 3 point shooters, consistent 3 point shooters. We're hoping Precious hits it at a 35 to 40 pace. We're hoping Boucher does. We're hoping for all of these guys. The only guy we can, there's only 3 guys that we can say on the Raptors squad that we are confident are going to hit it at a 30, I'll say 38 plus pace. 38 plus pace. OG. I think we can pencil him for that. Otto Porter. Fred VanVleet. And then, you know what? Gary Trent too. So 4 guys, right? Those are the 4 guys I think we can expect to hit it at a 38 and above clip pace. That's what we're hoping for. We're hoping we see that. It's not guaranteed. It's definitely not guaranteed that we're going to see something like that. But this team, has so much hopefuls. That's why it's so confusing. We're hoping for a leap from Precious. We're hoping to see Pascal get better. We're hoping to see Fred's minutes go down. We're once again for another year, we're hoping to see an OG push. Because every year we do it. Every year we're hoping for an OG bounce back. Or not bounce back, an OG, coming out party. Every single year. Zach Lowe says it too. Like every year everyone's like, oh, what is OG going to be? Can OG be that player? And I'm going to dive into OG's game because he's, like I said, he's very confusing. The team is confusing. And like I said, the Eastern Conference is good. Atlanta is actually a very good squad. I'm not the biggest fan of Trae Young, but if you can sit back and actually watch basketball, Atlanta's a good squad. See, I said this before in a podcast, I'm not analytically driven. I'm not going to be looking, of course you look at the analytics to try to prove a point or things like that, but I'm going to talk about, eye test. In eye test, that's how basketball is really told, right? And that's how I like basketball. In the eye test, hearing people talk about basketball as like, this player is just good, this player is not. The Eastern Conference has a lot of good players. Eye test wise, Trae Young's good. They have Bogdan probably coming off the bench. He's really good. Adeko Okongwu, who I'm pretty confident Atlanta wants to start again, is or not start. They want him to start. I think they want to get rid of Capella. That's still a good team, but I didn't put them as they're not top 16. They're not top. I think I put them at 8. So the Raptors have to be better than a team like that. A team like Brooklyn, who has, KD, Kyrie, Ben Simmons. They have a returning TJ Warren, who last time we saw him was in the bubble scoring like 50 points a game. Miami, a team that's basically Toronto, but like, I don't even know, better 3-point shooters. The Toronto but better 3-point shooters. So, there's all these teams. So, where we put the Raptors means we're saying the rest of these teams aren't going to be good. We're saying Miami's not going to be better. I think the top 3 teams are the top 3 teams. Philly, Boston, Milwaukee. That's no question. I think the Cavs, regular season-wise, will be better than Toronto. Toronto fans hate hearing stuff like that. They hate hearing that someone's going to be better than them. I know Raptors Twitter really... I don't know why we have this rep. I think I used to be a part of it in the thought of, like, every time someone talked negatively about Toronto, I'm like, do you even watch the game? Do you even watch them? And I still kind of have those moments. I'm like, do you even watch them? Do you see how they play? All everyone knows about Toronto is that they are all tall and we have Scottie Barnes. That's all everyone ever knows. No one knows nothing else about Toronto. They know those things. That Toronto has... all Toronto is a bunch of tall guys and Fred VanVleet and Scottie Barnes is there, the rookie of the year. He's going to be a great player. But this team is confusing. Besides Brooklyn, it's another team that I am greatly confused about. I don't know what to make of them. I really don't. I really don't. Now, let's talk about, their lineup situation, the Toronto Raptors lineup. And I'm not going to deep dive into each player, but let's talk about their lineup and then we'll talk about some players. The starting unit, we're going with the one that we did last year. To some people's dismay, some people rather not go with that. They rather have the elongated. They want some length in the lineup. So we're going with Fred at the one, Gary at the two, OG at the three, Pascal at the no, we're gonna go Scottie at the four and Pascal at the five. What I don't like about it is because Pascal's not a five. Like the way he plays the game is not a five. He's not even he's a crunch time five, but he's not a. He shouldn't be playing five. I don't think so. And I know, and I said it before. How much bigs does the Raptors really? They don't play a lot of bigs. It's Joel Embiid, but Jared Allen is not some like big that we have to worry about. Playing in the post that much. We don't have to. As long as you kind of have similar length, it's good. But the pick and roll can hurt us because we're not tall enough, we're not lanky enough, we're not big enough. So I think the pick and roll can really hurt this team. That starting unit. So now we have those five. After that, Precious is gonna get minutes. Boucher is gonna get minutes. Otto Porter is gonna get minutes, and Thad Young gonna get minutes. That's what everyone says. We're 9 men deep. I don't think we're 9 men deep anymore. I think Delano Banton deserves minutes. I don't see him playing in the 9-5 a lot this year. I see him being with the squad and actually getting minutes because I think he's a change of pace guy. No one is really good besides Scottie. OG has it too, and Pascal at going down the lane. Head down, just tackle the middle and try to get a layup. No one really does that a lot. But who does? Is Banton does it. Banton kind of reminds, not like this person, but the one person that did it back in the day was Norman Powell. Did it all the time. Took the ball from the left corner and just drove the basket and saw what he got. Either got fouled or went for a dunk or pass or kick it out. One of those two things, right? Once Delano can learn to kick out better, and he's offensively gifted and a great passer already, that he'll know what to do. It's still going to take some trying moments, but overall, it's still pretty good. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'm looking forward to seeing Delano Banton at work. So I think he's our 10th guy. Now there's a guy named Malachi Flynn who honestly is probably going to get traded. I wish we can trade him as soon as we could. Honestly, I wish there's something that we can get. I wish we can get Drake Crowder for much cheaper and then just trade Flynn for him. The Raptors would be way too deep then, but I wish something like that can happen. And the reason why I like Malachi Flynn, I actually want to see Malachi play. I think Delano Banton's ability to be a change of pace guy, especially for that bench unit, is really good. But to go back to the starting unit, our expectations of them, our hope for them is that they hold down leads, that they and I'm saying the starting unit has to do this. We're hoping that the 3-point shooting from OG, Fred, and Gary can help balance it all out because Pascal's still getting better and Scottie's still getting better. But like I said, this whole year we're hoping. At one point we can't keep hoping. We gotta just know what this squad is. And in looking at a player like an OG, one of the most confusing players I feel, we need to make sure that he's getting his touches too because he wants it. He wants the ball. Gary Trent is in a contract year. He's going to want to do his own thing too. He wants to stay a starter. As much as we all believe he could be better off the bench, he wants to stay a starter. He doesn't want to come off the bench. He wants to stay a starter on this team, right? Now with the starting unit, like I've said before, I wouldn't mind a Precious starting. I have arguments with some people I know about the Raptors saying that I wouldn't mind Khem Birch starting. If Khem Birch played 10 to 15 minutes a game, started the quarter, and that's it, started the first quarter, started the second quarter. If you need him longer, you keep him. If not, then I think it's also good to have a big. I think it's also good not to have too much mouths to feed in a starting unit. But that's where the coach has to stagger the lineups. I think staggering lineups is incredibly important. You can't put everyone on at the same time. The lineup has to be staggered. Now in staggering, my main thing is two guys need to be on the court at all times. He's one or two. Pascal needs to be on the court at all times, or Fred needs to be on the court at all times. Those are two guys because I think they are gonna level everything up. They're the leaders of the team. They're gonna balance everything out, put everyone in the right position, and play the game smart. Not gonna rush things. Not gonna do any dumb plays. I think they're the coaches on the court. Now, of course, you still have Thad Young, you still have Otto Porter, still guys like that are still gonna, of course, help the squad, um, prepare the squad for games against Philly and things like that. Now, in saying all that, you still want Fred or Pascal on the squad on the court at the same time. Unless you're getting blown out, unless you're blowing the team out, those two should be on. It's just what's needed. I know it's not playoff time, but I believe they should be on. Now, there will be games that they won't be on. Some games should be tester games, and I believe that. You know, I truly believe the Raptors should just play as deep as they want to. You know, we talked about the starting unit, and we can dive into some players, but something I probably will mention again later on is saying that the Raptors should just play as deep as they can. What's your actual goal? Like, play deep. Get to see. Play 11 guys. Because ultimately, there's 11 guys that should play. Ultimately, there's 12 guys that should play. Really, there's 13 guys. The only guy if he doesn't play, I'm good with is Wancho. But I want to see Justin Champagne play. I want to see Delano. I want to see Malachi. I want to see Cam, Boucher, Precious. I want them all to play. Some games may be matchup dependent, so you base off matchup. But I actually would like to see them all play. I really would. Now, let me get to the bench before I talk about Scottie and OG. When it comes to the Toronto Raptors bench, the question that we have to ask ourselves is how good can this team be? How good is the bench can be? Well, like I just said, you want to stagger the lineup. You do want Pascal or Fred to be on the court. But if your bench is really good, you don't need either. Like the bench mob time. You didn't really need DeMar or Kyle to be on the court. The bench mob was so good that you don't. Now, in saying that, how good is the bench? Now, the bench is, I think the two guys guaranteed to play is Boucher and Precious. Guaranteed. Those are the 6th and 7th guys. Now, the 8th guy, I determine the matchup. I do think the 8th guy, in most cases, will be. The 8th guy is really Thad, but I think Thad is matchup dependent. So I'll say 8th is Otto Porter. But I think Thad's really the 8th. I think that's a guy that Nick Nurse trusts, and I think a lot of people trust him to be on the squad. Play that Marc Gasol role. He knows his role. He's not here to get you baskets. He's here to put you in places to get baskets. You know, put the team in places to get baskets. So I believe that's Thad's role, and I think I want that to play because I like having that veteran leadership. I like having that person that's going to put everyone in place. I think it's always good to have, especially if you don't have Fred on the court. It's good to have a Thad who can ultimately really slow it down. Tell everyone to be in the right spots. Understands defensive schemes, like things like that. Knows that every minute counts, every second counts, every play counts. Momentum changer, things like that. He understands that. So he's a guy that I think you want to put on. So Precious Boucher, 8th is Thad. Then you have Otto Porter. Otto Porter is there to be your kick-out shooter. I think you got to put Otto Porter with a guy like Scottie Barnes. Scottie should play with a bunch of shooters around him. Scottie should ultimately lead your second unit. You can go Scottie, then you have Fred. So you go Scottie, Fred, Otto Porter. You can go Kem at the 5. And then you can go whoever you want to fit. You can go Malachi, you can go Banton for like some speed. You can do a lot of things, right, with that unit. You can do a lot of things with that unit. I know sometimes with the staggering of units and with the bench, I know sometimes, Nurse, I was about to say Casey, that Nick Nurse wants to go really big. You go Scottie at the 1, Pascal at the 1/2. You go OG at the 3. You can go Precious or Boucher at the 4 and Precious at the 5. Then you can even switch with Thad, put that in there. You can put Otto Porter. That's the real 6'7", 6'8" vision that everyone talks about. That's the real vision. You're just lengthy everywhere. And defensively, they do cause a ruckus. They do. I think the Raptors know that they don't have the Kawhi Leonard guy. They don't have the DeMar who can really just be your offensive juggernaut. That's why I've always said, if the Raptors have to package some players to get a DeMar back, you get a DeMar. Of course, you don't want to lose your core. You don't want to lose the, Pascal, OG, Fred, and Scottie. You don't want to lose those guys. But if you can get a bucket getter like a DeMar, I think that helps you because you need someone sometimes that half court offense to get better. So, but with the bench unit, my vision of this bench unit is not to be the bench unit from past, but to be the type of bench unit that, brings a lot of energy, which you want every bench unit to do is bring a lot of energy, and just play smart. I want this bench unit to be the smarter version of the team. That the guys who don't make a lot of mistakes, a lot of defense, pride themselves on coming back from any deficit, pride themselves from playing immaculate defense, being highlight reel defensive players, pride themselves on believing that they should be starters. That's what you really want. When Fred and Pascal and Norm and not really OG and DeLon Wright and Pirtle, when they were playing back in the day, they were all gunning for starter minutes. Now I believe, besides DeLon, most of them are pretty much starter. Like Norm sometimes will play starter for the Clippers, or he probably will, but he was a starter for Portland, things like that. Pirtle plays, he's a starter. Like all those guys are starters now. But that's the mentality you want to have. Precious wants to start. Precious is only 23. He wants to start. Boucher, I think, realizes his role. I think that's what makes the Toronto Raptors bench unit, to me, really good, is because he knows his role. And I think once Boucher realizes his role, I think it's just sky's the limit for his game in particular. I think he can improve because he knows his role. I said that my goal for him individually was for him to be a man that gets talked about in the 6-man category. I'm saying number 3. I'm saying what he brings to the squad, he gives you 10 and 10. Right? And with Precious on, I think there will be moments that Precious starts. I think that's why maybe Precious won't get a lot of talk in it. But I think Boucher should get a lot of talk. A guy that when he comes up off the bench, it's just a spark plug. Like I would like to see that. I think he can do it. He did it before, so I believe he can do it again. Now, sorry, I'm just this is bad podcasting. I know that. Hold on. Now we'll talk about 2 guys that I want to talk about. Oh, right now I'll talk about these 2 guys, Scottie Barnes and OG. But let's first start with Scottie. I'm gonna be a little negative. Sometimes I could be a little negative. Mind you, I'm a really positive Raptor fan, but sometimes when I listen to other people talk, I don't understand where they're coming from or how they see certain things. I'm not too sure about how they see things. So sometimes I can be a little bit negative. I can see that in myself. Now, when coming to talk about OG and Scottie. But Scottie, I'm going to be negative. OG, not so much, but Scottie, yes. I love Scottie Barnes. I say that. I just don't see what all of you see in the sense of, okay, I'll take that back. I see what you guys see in Scottie Barnes, and I see like a great player. But sometimes I see Scottie Barnes and I see Ben Simmons. I see a Draymond Green, probably better scorer than Draymond Green. And of course, there's moments I see Giannis. But I think some people are seeing so much Giannis that you want that to be tomorrow, and that's not tomorrow. Scottie Barnes may not, it took Giannis a while to be Giannis. Why are we acting like it took Giannis a while? It took Giannis a while to be Giannis. To be this version of Giannis? No. Come on, don't do that. It took a while. So, but I think Scottie has a lot of potential. Scottie won the Rookie of the Year. My expectation of Scottie Barnes is just to have another good year like he did last year. We weren't expecting this. Many of you guys were so mad that Scottie got picked. A lot of you were so mad that Scottie got picked. And I was incredibly happy that Scottie got picked because I knew the talent that he has. I agree. Scottie may be a 15, 10, and 10 guy. Honestly, he could be a triple-double machine. He could be one of those guys who grabs the rebounds and He just runs and guns. He loves seeing the pass first. Like, he's all that. He's a cheerleader for his team. He loves seeing guys like OG play well and things like that. That's why I'm starting to think differently about even OG, which I'm going to get to. I think maybe the best version of Scottie is that, Draymond rule, but a better version of Draymond. Maybe it's not Giannis. Maybe it's Draymond. Maybe it's that guy that really is a connector of all people. The person that they want Westbrook to be. The connector. The guy who gets everyone going. Sees the extra pass. But the thing is, you can do all that and still be an all-star. Draymond is like a 4-time all-star. Doesn't mean Scottie can't be an all-star, an all-NBA player. A great player. A franchise player. Draymond Green was still a franchise player. As much as we want to talk about the Splash Bros and how great the Splash Bros were, Draymond was just as important as anybody else. That's why when it comes to, Draymond was the second guy. Clay scored second, but Draymond was the second guy, second most important guy in that squad because of his defensive ability. He was the second most important guy. And mind you, Clay was a great defender too. Not so like we'll see this year what he does defensively, but Draymond has always been known as a great defender. He's the reason for the death lining. I think Scottie can do the same thing when he bulks up. Same thing. So I'm very curious to see about that. Of course, you want to see the 3-point shot get better. I want to see the jumper get better. I think people focus a lot on 3-point shots, and people focus a lot on the analytics of the 3-point shot. Like, it's better than the 2. Yeah, thank you for doing math. Like, I don't care about that. I want to see him hit a jumper, because to me that's what matters. A lot of game winners were won by 3 points. I tried to do I did this video. I was going to do a video of the 2-point, 3-point shot and analyze how much game winners were done by either or. Last year, a lot of it was the 3-point shot, but a lot of it's because they were down 2. So when you're down 2 and shooting a 3, that's what happens. Some of the most iconic shots were like 2-point shots. What's his name? Kyrie's shot was a 3-point shot. But Kawhi's was a 2. So was Michael Jordan's. I think some of the shots we think about, like, we go down the line to Magic, Kareem. Like, those shots were all 2. Yeah, they didn't shoot the 3 a lot, but I'm just saying, a lot of the shots now, of course, you have the Derek Fishers, you have the Robert Horrys, but look at the scores of those times. A little different. Right? But the main goal was to shoot the 2 and then kick out if you're left open. Ray Allen. It was a kick out. It wasn't a kick out. It was a rebound that was from Chris Bosh. But in a lot of cases, when you want to have the game on the line, you want a guy who can score a basket from the mid range and just happens to score from the 3. I want Scottie to work on that. I don't want to dive into this 2 and 3. I want Scottie to work on the jumper. What makes Kawhi such a lethal shooter is his jumper. People talk about Devin Booker. It's the jumper. LeBron has a pretty good fadeaway. Like a pretty good fadeaway. Giannis is not the greatest 3-point shooter, but he's good. He's good at the jumper. He can hit a good footer. He really could. If you really watch Giannis, Giannis can hit it. People miss Chris Middleton because he's a better mid-range shooter. You missed the mid-range. Yeah, PJ Tucker can shoot 3s, and you're asking PJ Tucker to shoot, 7 3s a game? Like, come on. It helps to have that mid-range, and I think that's what I would like Scottie to improve in, is the mid-range game. I know the team doesn't want to play like that, but that's what I would like to see. I like to see mid-range. But ultimately, Raptor fans, when we look at Scottie Barnes, we just can't be looking at, we're not seeing the next coming of LeBron guys. Or Kawhi was a different case, and so was Giannis. Like, these guys weren't supposed to be the guys they were. They just happened to become them. Like Pascal, when people talk about Pascal, you know why he was a great pick? He was like one of the best picks of all time. Of all time. Like, the best pick of all time, people say, is Jokic. Picking someone number 1 is easy. Picking a 2-time MVP at 40-something is crazy. Picking a 2-time All-NBA player in Pascal Siakam is crazy, because that wasn't the Raptors. That was the Raptors' actual pick. That was their actual team pick. But they had another pick that was top 10 that year. They had a top 10 player in the draft get picked, and their 2-time All-Star was number 27. that is an amazing pick, right? So it's easy. It's easy to say, like, drafting is hard. You never know what you're gonna get. Scottie was drafted fourth. You know, I'm like, we can't expect him to be like he's not gonna be Dwayne Wade. You know, he's not gonna be Dwayne Wade. But he could be. He thinks he could be. My biggest thing is that Scottie could be. I feel like I'm looping around. I'm not getting to my point. Scottie could be the next great player. He could be a top 10 player in the league. He honestly has the talent for it. My problem is that the way I'm hearing people talk about Scottie is like he should be top 10 right now. No. Wait. Maybe this is just Raptor Twitter. Maybe it's just some Raptors fans. Like, relax. Scottie's not there yet. Scottie's not there yet. He will eventually be there. I can't wait to see him get there. If he does, sorry. Like, I'm hoping to get there. But I think Scottie may have a top 30 type of player in him. When healthy, if he's given the reins to be an offensive player, then I think he has all the chances in the world. He has all the chances in the world. So I think it's possible. So not that I don't think it's possible. I just think we need to limit our expectations with Scottie. Now, when it comes to OG, he's confusing. Every year, people talk about OG. Every year, people want OG to be that guy. I'm like, oh, Scottie gonna be the second guy next year? Some people are like, no, man, it's OG. And I'm like, no, why people keep... I'm like, I want OG to be like, like Mikal Bridges type, like a 3-and-D wing, blah, blah, blah. But then, and it's just preseason, but I watch OG be the number one guy in preseason. And I'm like, damn. Last year when we wanted OG to be number one guy, things didn't happen well. It didn't go well. But now this year I'm thinking, what if OG was our Pascal Siakam type, championship year type of guy? Second offensive option, but still focusing on defense, plays like one of the better players on the opposite squad. Offensively, we need a little bit more of him. Defensively, maybe ask a little bit less of him. And maybe that's the best. Maybe it's the best version of it. Maybe that can really help the squad. Maybe it's not a Scottie being the second option on the team. Maybe it's not Fred. Maybe it's not Gary. Maybe our actual second option is OG. Because when he has moments where he's scoring 25 points efficiently, I'm like, damn, like, why doesn't he do that consistently? I think that's the thing with OG. I don't think it's consistent. We don't talk about that enough. We don't talk about the lack of consistency OG has. He's a consistent defender, but offensively, maybe he's not being aggressive enough. I don't know. But when he's driving down the basket, he's strong. We've been saying this for years. OG is a strong guy. We want to see him use that power more. He has a nice spin move just as well as Pascal does. I think OG sometimes is the worst defender on the other squad is guarding OG. Or there'll be a switch. Things like that. And you'll see OG just like doing his thing. So I don't know. I'm curious. I think OG, I don't know. I first predicted like maybe 17 points a game, but which is what he was which what he did. Right? Maybe we get 19. I just know Fred is not scoring as much. He's just not. Fred is the leader of the squad. We need Fred during the playoffs. I want Fred to have multiple playoff games. I believe I think Fred could be an X factor all the time because his ability to shoot the three anywhere. I always say Fred is a short Klay Thompson. I said that's how I've always envisioned it. Right? He's a short Klay Thompson. But OG, I don't know, man. He confuses me. OG really confuses me. Every team wants an OG. Every team wants an OG. That's why if you ever trade OG, you're getting multiple draft picks. If DeJounte Murray can be this much draft picks, I think OG's 2 draft picks. At least first round draft picks. And a solid quality player coming back. Every team. The moment we lose an OG, we were going to want him back. Now there's certain players, when you think of trading them, you're going to want that player back. I always said, when I thought Chris Boucher was on the block, I'm like, you're going to lose Chris Boucher. If you don't gain someone like him, you're going to miss him. And you miss that type of player. Like as much as Kyle's gone, I wouldn't say we necessarily miss him anymore. You know, I'm not saying because I like him, which I do, but we needed a downhill player like Norman Powell. We don't have that right now. We still don't. We're hoping that some players get better, like a Banton, uh, you know, Fred a little bit, OG, Pascal. Pascal is probably one of the better ones, but Gary's not like that. Gary's more of a 3 point shooter and a mid range shooter. So I don't know. OG's confuses me. I think some moments I watch him play and I'm like, OG can be that guy, right? He really could. He could be a 2 way guy. Like 2 way and 3 and D are two different guys. When I look at OG, sometimes I think he's a 2 way player. Sometimes I look at him, I'm like, he's a 3 and D guy. But I'm hoping this year we can see more of the 2 way. And maybe I'm leaning more, maybe he is a 2 way player. But I think it's the final year of the OG development project. Because I don't think a lot of Raptor fans can do this again. We can't keep thinking to ourselves that OG is up next. OG's up next. OG's up next. He's 25 now. He either is who he is or not. You know? We have to figure that out. Another player to talk about, before I get to the team as a whole, is Pascal Siakam. I've made multiple videos. I'm going to continue making multiple videos with Pascal, so I'm going to only make this spotlight. I'm going to give myself like a minute and 30 about Pascal. Go. Pascal, 2-time All-NBA player in the past 3 years. He's a top 30 player in the league. Maybe can crack top 25. Maybe can crack top 20 by end of year. I think sometimes the best version of this team is giving the ball to Pascal. And I've always said that. I'm like, when they're in need of a basket, give it to Pascal. When you need a shot, give Pascal. Why? Because he's still, honestly, the best player on the team. It may not happen for long as Scottie's growing. But Pascal is easily the man who can get his basket the best. He can score from the mid range pretty consistently. His getting to the basket and does his post moves, things like that, only getting better. People talk about the spin move. He didn't do it a lot, but when he does it, people are acting like people can stop it. People haven't stopped it. What Pascal struggles with is being guarded by length, right? So that's something he has to consistently work on. He's being guarded by length. Him and OG should practice more together. I think that would make him a lot better. I don't know how much they practice. Probably practice all the time together. But he's putting in the work. He's there before everyone. He saw what DeMar did. He saw what Kawhi did. He's like, okay, I want to be on the court first. I want to be there last. I'm there before everyone. Everyone says Pascal's work ethic is not questioned, right? Now we want to see that work become something. We want to see what it can do with Pascal. So my hope, I think I definitely passed the minute and 30. My hope is for Pascal to become not a guy, the guy. I want to see Pascal become the guy. The team needs the basket. Okay, give me the ball. I got you. Because that alone will get Pascal 25 points. Because sometimes I think this year's offense is going to be funny. It's going to be funny. So Pascal is going to be the one to get that basket. I think he can give you. I think I'm okay with Pascal going 24 points, 9 solid rebounds, and 5 assists. That's all NBA again. That's an all-star right there. But let's talk about the team. The team, defensively, can still be great. The team will be pretty good defensively with the length and the ability. The one thing that they do a lot is let threes occur. They have a lot of threes, but the whole point is to contest the three. So the offensive player sees a big-ass hand when they're trying to shoot a three. So that's the goal, is to kind of prevent that stuff. It's possible. They do get a lot of blocks, so I will give them that. Their job is to also try to steal the ball as much and create opportunities for themselves. Did they not lead the league in offensive plays? I believe they had the most. They led the turnover battles many games, shooting the most many games. Yeah, I think they led the league in that. So they need to consistently have that. They need to consistently have win the turnover battle. They need to consistently, be able to lead through their defense, play offense through their defense. Because once again, like I just spoke about, offensively, the two guys that can get their own shot consistently will be Pascal and Gary Trent Jr. Those two guys, I think you give the ball to create their own shots. When you're in a lull, you got to go ISO. Because I don't think they have the offensive sets to do a lot. I think they can do the same offensive set normally. I know they want to shoot a lot of threes, but I think when it's a lull in the game, you got to give it to those two guys to do something. Eventually, give it to Scottie as well because you want him to establish himself. If you see OG become something, you have OG as well. Those are the four guys. I think that's when you gotta have one of them on court with a Fred, of course, as their starting unit to really. But I don't think there'll be a lot of lulls with the starting unit. I think it's when you get to the bench. That's why I don't think said you gotta put Fred or Pascal on the court. And then if it's Fred, maybe you got to put Gary with him too to get that lull out. Pascal, maybe with an OG. And then Scottie as well. So there won't be a lot of lulls if one of them just play ISO. You just got to be ISO, 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 ISO. And, I think Pascal's one of the top players in ISO. Got to do it again. That's how it is. That's how the offense is going to work. That's how the defense is going to work. Defensively, this team is going to be good. Probably a top 10 defense. Offensively, they could try to aim for top 15. It's not bad. But once again, top defenses are the ones who have won titles. They're like the worst, I think, defensive team that won. I don't know. Nothing recent. Even like the Phoenix Suns were pretty good defensively at one point when they made it to the finals. Milwaukee's a pretty good defensive team. So, yeah, defensively, this team has to really hit their mark. They really do. Now, let's talk about, it's this team's overall purpose. The purpose of this team, which kind of lead to the goal and expectation of this team. I see this team's purpose is to still develop. I think they do have it. They do have that. The trigger's there to hit the switch to win now, or they can do it, or tank. They're right in that middle. It kind of sucks. I said the Raptors are right in the middle. I kind of like being in the middle. You can go either or. If Bradley Beal finally says I'm okay with being traded, then do you trade 2 draft picks? Guess how much draft picks I'm trading? I'm not trading a lot. 2 draft picks for OG and Gary for Bradley Beal. You're definitely thinking about it. That's for sure. I'm thinking about it, right? Because then you change the lineup. Then you put Precious on. You put Bradley Beal. Because you're really switching Bradley Beal with Gary Trent, and then you get Precious and OG switch, and then I don't know. It makes you think. It makes you think if the Raptors can do, or I said it in my video. Let's say someone, God forbid, gets hurt. Knock on wood. Hopefully, no one gets hurt. But if it's someone important like a Pascal, like if Pascal gets hurt, tank it. Tank it. Let Fred take another year rest off. Then let it be the OG and Scottie show and Precious show. Let it be the Donald Banton show. Win whatever games you can get a top 10 draft pick again. To me, that's how I see it. Honestly, that's how I see it. If Pascal's down, this team has no chance. I love this team, but they have no chance without Pascal. None. So to me, its purpose is to still develop players. I think this last year was, I want everyone to realize this, last year was supposed to be this year. So they are ahead of schedule, Raptor fans. The Raptors are ahead of schedule. It'd be nice if they make it past turn around in the playoffs. But they are ahead of schedule. So you just want to see development in Scottie. Scottie won Rookie of the Year. Honestly, I expected last year to be like I wasn't expecting Rookie of the Year from Scottie. I was expecting good top 10 rookie, but not this. I want growth from OG offensively. I want growth from Precious. Like Precious, beginning of the year, we're like, oh my gosh, what the hell did we get? We got Dragic who doesn't play, and we got Precious who holy moly, it's not working for us, right? Then we want to see Delano play more. You want to see Justin Champagne. You want to see Malachi. To me, you just develop. You trade Otto Porter. You trade Thaddeus Young. You say thank you so much guys for wanting to come to Toronto. We appreciate that. We're gonna trade you guys out to some contenders, and hopefully get a pick or 2. That's it. Then you just develop again. Keep developing. But that's what this year's purpose for me is: develop. Good, bad, ugly, develop. That's the biggest key. Raptor fans should not think this team is... I'm sorry, they're not better than Philly. They're not better than Boston. Not better than Milwaukee. If the chips fall well and the playoff seeding falls well, it's the same thing they did for Atlanta a few years ago. then you never know. You can make it past a certain round. But ultimately speaking, like, what are we gunning for? What is our expectation? You know, what's the purpose? The purpose is to develop this year. Now, to go with my expectation of this team, I'll dive right to it. I think the expectation of this team is, well, not, before I give my expectation, let me tell you. The goal as a whole, as Raptor fans, we should have for this team, the floor is top 16. I think this team is still top 6. I think first round exit. That's the floor. The floor is top 6, like last year. Last year's goal is this year's goal for me. Same thing. The ceiling, top 4 seed. Second round, either a game 6 or 7 exit. But I won't take a second round a sweep. That's a disappointment. Ceiling would be that would be for a ceiling disappointment. You go, game 7 with Philly, Milwaukee, Boston, and they win because they may have the right moves that day. So, but that's my ceiling. Ultimately you want to win a title, but my realistic ceiling is that second round, top 4 seed, game 7, lose. Like I said, you want to win. My expectation / my prediction is probably the floor, which is top 6. I think depending on matchup, you really are hoping to win the first round. But my realistic prediction is that they won't make it past the first round. There's a lot of good squad, like Miami, Brooklyn. Like, you don't know how good Brooklyn's gonna be. If Brooklyn's really good, you got Brooklyn, Boston. You got Philly. That Atlantic division is the best division in the East. Simple, no question. Like, I think that division is way better than the Pacific Division and the Western Conference. Yeah, no. But you just never know. Toronto, everyone thinks Toronto is a trade candidate. That like they're gonna try to trade someone or trade for someone. They have other draft picks. People keep talking about it. They're gonna add to this team. We'll see. But so that changes the whole expectations of this team. Simple. If they trade someone. But yeah, my prediction is top 6 and a tough first round. Potential exit first round, but with a good team, not like a shitty team. Like if they're 6, they're probably gonna face like a Boston or Milwaukee. So yeah, that's my thought process. Any awards for this team? I think we gotta have one Raptor make an all defensive team. I think it'd be nice if Pascal makes it to an All NBA team again. If he does, we gotta talk about him differently. I talk about him differently, but most people gotta talk about how could a man be top 25 and 3 out of the 4 years pick All NBA team? Like, that doesn't make sense. Clearly a top 15 player. So yeah, that wouldn't make any sense. That's just disrespect. People don't like his game. Simple. But yeah, I think that's one. We gotta have one there. We won't have any rookies of the year unless Koloko really stands out. But once again, Koloko plays. Like, I'm okay if Koloko doesn't play. To play in the G League. We'll see him next year. We'll have some roster spots open. And some, like, benching minutes, potential starting minutes open next year. So that's how I see it. But yeah, like that's my thought process for awards. Really, just one defensive player. Hopefully, he can make an All NBA, and maybe we'll get 2 All Stars. I wouldn't predict 2 All Stars. It's hard. The East is hard now, really hard. I listened to Bill Simmons' podcast. He named about like 30 plus players, and to me, I think he missed out a couple of names too that could make it. What if RJ Barrett has a breakout season? That man's making it to the All Star team. Like, it's just hard. It's really, really hard. And the 4th position is not easy for Pascal. It's not easy. You got Tatum. You got I think they also put Brown as a 4, but you got Tatum. You got Durant. You got Giannis. So like, he has to compete with those guys. You got Chris Middleton. This is gonna be hard. You still got Evan Mobley. You got Jared Allen. Yeah, it's not gonna be easy. Make it to the 4th. It really won't be. But we'll see. We'll definitely see. But that's it for my. I guess I should give my. I gave my prediction for the way the season is gonna be, but let me give my record prediction. I predict him to be 46 to 48 wins again. 46 to 48 wins. That's the same thing like last year. I honestly predict a lot of last year. I think we're playing with house money. I think we should realize we're playing with house money. I think we should be happy that we're playing with house money. We shouldn't expect anything else. Hoping for healthy seasons for everybody. Hoping for some breakouts. Ultimately, I want to win like 60 games, but I don't know if that's going to happen. If that happens, then Pascal's going to be an All NBA MVP discussion. So we'll see from that. But make sure you guys comment below. I used to make a lot of Raptor videos back in the day. I'm going to come back to making them. I love the Raptors. I love this team. I'm so excited about this season. I actually really missed watching them. I'm just excited. I think I was excited last year because I think what made me happy was because I was right about Pascal. You know, a lot of people talk bad about Pascal, spoke about him negatively. He didn't have a good year. I think that the year following, people just spoke negatively about him, and it made me mad. So seeing Pascal develop and seeing the team develop just made me happier. So I'm glad to see what this team can do. I'm looking forward to the season. I'm hoping you guys are looking forward to the season. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be some trials and tribulations. Raptor fans, understand we are a year ahead. We are a year ahead. Please remember that we are a year ahead. Thank you. Comment, like, subscribe. Hope you guys listen to this, in your drive to work or cleaning or something like that. This organized mess that I made of a podcast. Hope you guys enjoy. Subscribe, and I'll talk to you again. Peace.